What up, gents and gentettes? It's Pulsar here. It's good to be back for doing another Sin video. So yeah, today I wanted to just cover all the Season 4 changes for Sin and kind of how he has evolved or devolved as a character, maybe. It really depends on how you feel about the changes, because they are pretty, they're pretty drastic for the way he plays. And I really do want to give my final opinion at the end of the video, but we'll see. But for now, I'll cover the... what was it? I'm going to cover the stamina gauge, and we'll cover the new move, Gazelle Step, right? This move. And then we'll do the normals, and then we'll do the special moves, alright? Imagine, I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time on the special moves just because they were the ones that were changed the most. So real quick, I guess I'll just do, we'll do the stamina gauge, right? So the big thing about the stamina gauge now, right, is that they changed it so it no longer builds more quickly depending on how much stamina you have. And they also made the gauge take a lot longer to build, right? This, coupled with the fact that it doesn't build during hit stop, could feel like the gauge takes forever to come back now. So, like, typically I'm gonna go for, like, I'll do, like, a throw. I think he's gonna wake up with the DB, so yeah. And so you're gonna be doing stuff like this, and then... like, you still haven't even built one block after that whole sequence, and that's kind of the scenario you're going to be in, is that once you're out of stamina, it's actually really hard to come back. Because, like, you're just never going to have enough stamina. What you're going to have to use is, like, you're going to have to be using your other gauges to facilitate your play, right? Which is, like, very doable, but even if you use all of your gauges, like, right? So what I mean is, like, you're out of stamina, right? Alright, you have to do, like, stuff like this, right? Right, here's your RC, and you still haven't even built your gauge hasn't even started building, and you're basically going to be using these other options to try to close out the round rather than to sustain yourself in a match. They just really want they really want to put a lot more emphasis on like your innate burst power in order to become strong. And so, oh right, there's one more change that's really severe for the character is that they made it so that, you know how the car cancel, you can do car cancel on the super, which is like if you were to do beat driver and do wait, there we go. They made it so that if you do a dash cancel at any point, it's going to cost a bar of stamina. This is like a balance issue is going to come into effect when I talk about the special moves, because the special moves kind of compensate for this in some way. But yeah, that's just kind of what they did. The new move here, Gazelle Step, this is pretty good for jump scare situations, but I wouldn't... like, if you think it's going to, like, low profile, you can use it to go underneath something. It does not. It's just 100% going to lose to every single button in the game. Right? Something that's really good about doing, though, is something like that. If you PRC it to, like, just take all of that space and then just throw them, it's pretty strong. You have to consider, though, you're spending 50 gauge plus a bar of stamina for a throw attempt. And that's kind of like the thing that you're going to be dealing with a lot with Sin, is just kind of like, is it worth doing this for all these resources? That's something you have to really, really think about now with this character, because, yeah. It's just how he is now. He's a more resource management character. Alright, and so the other changes were they nerfed his 6P. This is like universal change. They added more recovery. I personally don't really notice it, but I never use this move because I think this move sucks. Alright, because every time you're using it, you're like you're trying to use it as a counter poke, then you try to use Beak Driver, it doesn't connect. Like, how did I demonstrate this? Okay, here. So you're like, oh, okay, Kai, take this. That's gonna happen all the time with this character, so I don't know. That's why I don't really like his 6P, because it doesn't even really work as a counter poke sometimes. Far Slash got nerfed. This is maybe a little bit trickier to explain, but with how squirrely the game is, I mean, like, characters are really, like, they're hard to hit sometimes, right? Because they're always, like, jumping or backdashing or whatever. They gave this move a bunch of more recovery to it, and I find myself, like, just trying to, like, hit the person when I think I can, and then they just backdash and they punish me. It feels really, really hard to use this button now, and it's like it's incredibly difficult in a move that's already pretty bad. But yeah, like, the biggest thing you're probably gonna notice is that when people try to, like, jump over it, it's very easy for them, like, to, like, jump, see that you whipped, and then air dash and hit you, because that's how much they added so much more recovery to the move. The next move is 2S. This is a heartbreaker for me, because I always thought this is, like, Sin's, like, best move. but they went ahead and nerfed it and made it. They took away all the fun things about it. So before 2S was actually like super disjointed. I think it was like disjointed up to his knee even. And so you can kind of throw this out in ways to like do. I think. Hold on, let me set this. I'll show you real quickly. So if I have Kai do a DP, like he's a DP thrust. You could use it to go underneath it basically. Before that was like the one major use I had for it, like that. But that was like just did so early. If you do it, if you miss time this now, it's like, oh my gosh, why did I get far slash? There you go. They kind of took that away. I think this probably also applies to Bridget as well, but I thought it was like a pretty cool thing that Sin had that was unique to those matchups, but it's just gone now. And it's also slower. They made it from like I think from 10 to 13 frames. They had 3 frames to start up and then nerfed the hitbox on it. It's like, why? I mean, it still kind of does its job as a like a stop sign move, because I think the overall frames are the same. It's just that it's slower on startup, so it makes it a lot more difficult to be more aggressive with it, I suppose. And so yeah, those are the normals. Overall, those are the 3 normals they changed. There's no other changes to the normals. His air normals are still garbage. And like they didn't really change the way his moves hit on hit. Like they all do the same thing. It could be kind of a situation for the character. Okay, so that's normals. I guess we could go directly into special moves. So, Beak Driver. This is probably the one that's the most commonly going to be used. So what they did with the Beak Driver, or for Sin's special moves, is they buffed the second part of the moves, okay? The first part of the moves are all absolutely garbage still. So, like, what I mean by that. So, block, counter attack. I'm actually gonna do 6P. I think this still works. Okay, it has to be far slash. They made it so that. Wait, this is wrong. That. All of his moves are completely punishable on block. The worst part is, this is even true on hit still. Oh wait, my bad. I didn't have him do a... There we go. And so, if your opponent really knows the Sin matchup, they know that they can just hit all the recovery of his moves. This is really detrimental because, like, they should have at least fixed his normals to make more sense, at least on hit, but they don't. So, like, once you're out of stamina and you have to fight with these normals, you're just completely effed. It's really bad. But I guess we could talk about the good stuff about the move, so... or, like, I guess the follow-ups, because the follow-ups are actually decently strong. I wouldn't say they're great. Like, they're not... I don't think they're worth the changes, but... So, what they did is that the follow-ups, right? They all have better... how do I say? They have better, like... You have more frame advantage on hit. In a lot of good ways, right? So, like, a really fun one is actually being able to do this now. You could actually get a safe jump after Beak Driver, or Elk Hunt if you do the follow-up. So you just air dash to do a jump heavy. It's pretty consistent. I'm gonna show you of course I have to show you the negatives about this, is that sadly your opponent could still 6P all of your jump-ins because Sin is not allowed to have nice things in this game. Right? That's still gonna be a thing. But you can OS it with a DP. But I've talked about this in the previous video, but like doing a reversal and then using the reversal to do I'll talk about it later, but yeah. It's I don't know. I really don't know if it's good or not. But yeah. So the Beak Driver follow-up now, right, is just a lot more frame advantage, right? Like you can even do that a lot more consistently, which I find to be pretty good, right? This is actually like if you do this too early, it actually just whiffs, right? See? So you have a lot more frame advantage. You have you're at least like plus 30, I think, roughly, to do whatever you want, which is pretty nice. Another thing That's on a hit, right? They kind of changed the way. Oh yeah, so in the corner now, Beak Driver gives you a much better, a better combo. I wish I could say that it's consistent, but like Sin in this version, he is not. Oh my god. Whatever. Whatever. You could get a follow up still, like you could in the previous versions of the game. The big thing though is that you could actually get a close slash here. Yeah, like that. So his overall damage is higher, but it's also a lot more inconsistent to go for it, just because of how, I don't know, like hitboxes and whatever. The next thing, I guess we'll talk about it on guard. All guard. Right? They made this a guard crush. It's a pretty competitive. I want to say it's a pretty decent, like, on block. I think it's +6. The big problem that you're gonna have is that you're gonna, if the opponent presses any amount of buttons, you're just, because your moves suck now. Well, they've always sucked. If they just press any amount of buttons, you just kind of end up losing. So like, you'll have them do standing K, right? So like, if you do this and then you try to contest with your +6, well, that was jab. My bad. Has to be like a decently active move. So you do something like this. You're gonna trade. And so your opponent has all the incentive to just flail in front of your face now. That's of course only if you don't take the follow up, right? Right, and this is true for all of his follow ups. All of his follow ups do cause this guard crush effect, and they all kind of leave you in this like precarious like plus state where you're not allowed to really do anything without risking your opponent just mashing buttons into your face. Right. Because, like, you don't have enough time to dash 2k, you're gonna just trade, like... So, I really don't like this. The worst part is if their opponent just decides to just jump. You don't have any options here to actually, like, stop them from doing it. Like, Far Slash will clip them from jumping, but then you're -12. And so it's, like, it's pretty rough. I really don't know what my answer is here. It's, like, maybe... you could kind of like try to pretend that you're plus, and then maybe your opponent will buy it. But if they know the matchup, they'll know what to do from here, and it's no bueno. But let's talk about the one thing that they did bring to Sin that is really strong. In the older seasons, they basically let you do this scenario, right? That because all of his moves cause the guard crush now. You're able to put them in this strike throw situation, right? And this is actually like one of the strongest scenarios you can ever be in Strive in general. And you have the option of pretty much doing this from at any moment, right? Right, but you have to look at the fact that it costs 2 bars of stamina. And so like a lot of times it's like you have to decide if it's worth going for. But yeah, you have to understand that it is actually a really strong scenario to be in. And you could do that from pretty much anywhere, right? Right, so you can just take close slash, you can do 2k, or just go directly into throw. All of these are a complete guess for your opponent. The problem is that it's so expensive that you're not going to have enough stamina to really close out the match. So it's up to you to really decide if it's worth going for early, or if it's more of a thing that you kind of wait for to close out the match in later. But yeah, that's kind of like what it is with the follow-ups, right? They're like a fake plus if you don't do Gazelle Step, but if you do take a Gazelle Step, it's like incredibly strong. The combo running, I said, has slightly changed. Like you can't, like I said, in the corner you get like a little bit more with something like that. Like you can do close slash into 6H for a little bit more damage than before, but I wanted to mention that it can feel inconsistent depending on distance, and that's something you have to be really mindful of. Let's do the overhead because I think this is probably Oh wait, I didn't mention it. Sorry. Let's go back. Oh yeah, Beak Driver gives you a combo anywhere now. Like at all, like anywhere, you just do whatever you want, right? Point. You always get some kind of conversion now, right? This is something that's actually new to this season because in the previous versions there was a lot of cases where you hit them, and then you just couldn't do anything. But now you definitely can get something to it. I do want to mention something that's really dangerous about this is that it doesn't actually have it has a dead zone, right? So typically you would like to go into close slash, right? But like as you can see, right, if you catch them from too far out, you don't even get the close slash. So you're gonna have to be mindful if you want like to do close slash or just do the universal save, which is just doing 2k. I kind of recommend just doing 2k into 6H and taking that because at least it always works, and the damage loss isn't that much. I think it's like the difference of like 7 damage or something. What was it? Yeah, it's like it only does 137 versus 131. And so I kind of do recommend just doing 2k, even though that you could do close slash 6H. It does give you more meter too, though. That's something you have to really consider. All right, so sorry about that. Let's go back to Hoof Stomp. Um, Hoof Stomp is cool. Good job, Sin. Yeah, there you go. Hoof Stomp's it's pretty cool because now the follow-up gives you a lot more frame advantage to pursue your opponent with. So you don't have to really commit to anything. You can just kind of hope that maybe your moves will, hit the opponent. So that's a big plus, right? And the other big thing too right now is that it does cause a guard crush, like I was saying earlier, right? And that also puts you in the same scenario where you could just go for a strike throw afterwards. So like, what's kind of really good is that your opening offense is really strong if you're willing to just use all your stamina, because now you just take that and go into strike throw, right? And so you get basically two like really decent attempts, right? Because you have the overhead or the low, right? And then followed up with a strong strike throw. And because there's no actual counterplay really to the follow-ups, it's actually a really annoying situation for the opponent to be in. The part that's kind of really hard to emphasize though is that you're burning a lot of stamina to do this, and it's hard for me to say like it's strong, but it has a lot of negatives because of how much stamina it burns. Because once you burn 2 stamina, you are going to be in a lot of suffering once you only have 1 bar of stamina to come back with. Alright, so follow up. If you're wondering kind of what I do from this now. So, oh yeah, the big thing too now is what's really good about the overhead now is that this is what I was going to mention before, is when I was going to say like there's some benefits, like how I said that they took away the free stamina meter on supers. They kind of compensated this with the change too, how you can get a combo from all of your hits, right? Because I showed you from Beak Driver, you could always get a combo, right? What this in turn really means is that you always have. Wait, what did I just change? Oh, I changed my opponents. Is that you're gonna have to, if you do the follow-ups, you actually do have more ranges to work with in terms of like meter. So like right now I set to like 30, right? So if I do like something like this, right? Boom, you got 50 meter, and you also get the wall break. Alright, that's like pretty strong for the character. I do. There's also like you can also do silly things. Oh man, I'm gonna get this for you guys. Oh, wait, oops, my bad. It's from this. Because he can do a follow-up from all of his moves, you can pretty much always do the P combo, so you're pretty much guaranteed a wall break from any of his follow-ups if you're willing to use the Wild Assault. Okay, so... Oh, I forgot something! I'll cover this first. I forgot something about Beak Driver. I'll do it now, though. Okay, so... One thing that changed about this character, too, is that the follow-ups all kind of give you some kind of return. Right? Bam, you get that. This is definitely a pretty big buff, because in a lot of scenarios from the previous version of the game, like you would land a counter hit and then just be like, well, that was cool. What do I do? You do nothing. But now you always get some kind of meterless option afterwards, right? So yeah, I also wanted to show you Beak Drivers. Beak Drivers is a little bit trickier because like mid-screen, you have to use Wild Assault. So I forgot what the combo is from that. I think I just do like I just do the standard like 2H combo or something. But yeah, that's how you could pick up any of the counter hits now. Any of the follow-ups from a counter, you get some kind of return. And I think that's really decent. So the next thing, right? I was overhead. I don't think there's any more to talk about. It's just that you get the combo from hit, or on counter hit now from Hoof Stomp. Elk Hunt's like pretty much largely unchanged. It's like the same. It's the same move. The follow up does give you a bit of like it's a lot easier to get a follow up mid screen now with this. Oh yeah, there you go. I typically just take a 6H and do Elk Hunt. You can do like a 5K or something, but I feel like the recovery on the move is like really hard to do anything from. But there are options after the counter hit. I think you could probably even do I think you can even do that. But yeah, so you can even do like that. So that's like I think pretty strong, and of course you still have the same old like implications where you do a follow up afterwards to control your opponent. It's still all there. It's still relatively the same from season 3, 2, or whatever. Um, so I want to talk about the one. Oh, yeah, I showed you the follow up on counter hit. The next big change is probably to this move. This move still kind of sucks. So um, oh, actually, I didn't show you. So in in the previous game, you would do this move for your combo follow up, right? You would do 2H, hoof stomp, then like dash up 2K 6H for a combo. But they removed that in the corner or mid screen. They just kind of float away too far. In the corner, you could still do the same combo. So this is still your most meter efficient combo to go for, right? 2H, this, right? It doesn't use any stamina. That's why it's really, really good. However, what they did now, if you want meter efficient combos now, because they took the hoof stomp away as like a safe routing, they kind of buffed the DP. So, right, from the DP, you could pretty much any hit you connect with the opponent, assuming that your DP can connect, you can do some kind of shenanigan, right? So, like, so before you would do something like this, right? I don't know, like that. Of course, you wouldn't have to use a stamina, but the routing still works if you do blow the stamina. But now, rather than doing so, like if you were to do this, how much is that? 130. So now, if we do the new routing, which is this, it's like a lot more, right? 143, and then versus dun, 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 dun. It's like 30 more points of damage, right? That's actually kind of significant, right? So it's like the game really wants you to use the DP as your meter optimization route, your meter optimal route. However, like Sim's not allowed to have nice things. The big problem that you're gonna have with the reversal is that it doesn't always connect, right? Like it has a dead zone, and so a lot of times you're gonna be thinking like, do I go for the DP or do I have to do something else? In which case, it's gonna be less meter or stamina optimal, right? I do think that it's like a pretty interesting change, but the thing that it's gonna like you're probably gonna realize is that the DP doesn't always just work, right? Even though if you can do the DP, it's gonna drop. So I'll give you like the best example I could think of. Let's say I do this, right? 2P, 2P, right? Bam, right? Easy, easy, right? That was 2 jabs. If I do 3 jabs, oh please, oi, oi, there we go, like that. The follow-up just is gonna whiff. This is a scenario that's actually gonna happen like a lot more, especially because like if you don't really know all of your routing, it's gonna be a problem where the DP just doesn't connect properly and you can't really extend your combos. For me, the big issues I've been having is like if I do like an air dash at them. Like, look at this, man. What do you want me to do about this? Like there, like in all honesty, I think that should have worked, but it doesn't. Right? So now either it just doesn't connect. Let me see if I can get this. Hold on. I want to get a nice deep jump in. Uh, this makes me so mad. So if you're really kind of wondering, like, what are like ways to like kind of fix this, you have to do a lot of dash cancel DP, right? Which is like basically this stuff, where you do a dash and a DP at the same time. Well, you do a dash out of your normal, right? Because you could dash cancel either your close slash or your 5K, right? And it gives you, and you could cancel that dash into a reversal. Oh wait, there you go. And this does give you a lot more like consistency, but I do find it to be really obnoxious to do for all of your combos. And because like the hard thing is like you can't tell all the time like if your DP is going to connect with or without it, and because of that you're forced to either like, and the fact that you can only ever do it from close slash or 5K makes it really difficult to use in my opinion. I kind of want to try this again real quick. Let me see. Yeah, oh yeah, nice. Okay, let's try again. Uh, that makes me kind of mad that you have to do that. So look, that the big problem with that is also that if you do like something like this, and if you hit them with a max range, like a yeah, it feels bad. It just like because you really want to conserve your stamina, but there's just so many routes where it doesn't work. All right, sorry about that. I went on a tangent because this is probably the thing that makes me the most mad about this character right now is just how you have to use the DP, but the DP doesn't work like 90% of the time. All right, so let me talk about the one other big buff he got. This is probably the best buff he got. They made it so his super does much better minimum scaling. Um, and the super I'm talking about is the RTL follow up. This like does like 1,000,000,000 damage now. Right? I think the minimum scaling is like 80 or 70 damage or so. So like if you do, I don't know. Let's see, my bad. Alright, we just do the standard left, up. So this is actually a pretty relevant change because like you're like once you fail, you're pretty much your only option is to use that super to come back and win the match basically. And you definitely will see the usage of like that super coming in clutch to win the match now because of how much damage it does. It's a pretty cool change. It kind of makes it feel like it's more in line with other 100% meter supers. So yeah, I think I covered everything in terms of changes. I don't think like he's really changed too much on a fundamental level. It's just that once you what you really have to think about is it worth exhausting stamina now? And I think that's what kind of I don't think it's better or like it's just it's like a little. I'll be honest. I think he's a worse character. I think he's a much worse character now than he was. I don't even know if he's worse than like the original season 4 patch where they just nerfed his DP. I maybe he's like a little bit better, but I could argue that he's probably not as good as even his season 2 iteration. I just think like the nerf to his buttons, making like he's like pretty much unplayable at neutral now. The only thing you really ever do now is just Elk Hunt, and then maybe do this, and then you hit them with a jump H, then go, wow, cool, I can't convert this. And so I'm trying to be more positive because I think he's much better at a lower level, but at a higher level, he's like I think almost unplayable at this point. Because like I think it's almost impossible to rely on the overhead as an option. And even if you were to like hit the guy once or twice with it, it's still not enough to win the match. And so you're just always going to be in a scenario. You're always going to feel it as that you're going to be in a scenario where like, okay, cool, I'm ready to win the match, and then you have no resources to win the match, and so your only option is to just stand there and let the opponent just run you over. And that's actually way too common for a game like Stry. Like it just feels super bad to be like, well, I guess I can't play the game, and so I'm gonna just sit here and let the opponent attack me. Because like you can't do any of your special moves, right? Because like I said, all of your special moves are minus on hit. and you're just gonna get punished for just trying to keep the opponent out, right? It's just really hard to maintain all the gauges now, I think, and be ahead of your opponent, basically. Uh, yeah, that's why I feel like I see a lot of people are like kind of overplaying Sin right now. Um, but you know, if you have any Sin questions, I'm still probably gonna play the character because I think he's just easy. I definitely don't enjoy my time playing him right now, sadly. But what can I say, man? This is Daisuke's vision, I suppose. But alright, guys, that's I'm Pulsar, and this is gonna be the end of the video, man. Leave any comments if you have any questions below. I'll go ahead and answer them as fast as I can. Alright, peace.